News from UFL. As you can see on screen, they've announced fixes to a lot of the major issues that players have been having in game. They have no doubt answered much of the feedback they've been getting when you look at some of these fixes. They even said it in the information above in this release, and I couldn't be happier. You have to remember when this game released, you have to remember that it is their first iteration, and you have to compare it to what we've been dealing with every single year with EA Sports' football video game, EAFC, FIFA, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that they're answering these things this quickly, addressing so many major issues that the players of the game have been bringing up, I mean, it's a great sign for sure. I had no doubt based on how they've been responding so far. And even if you just want to look at the fact that they spent all these years building this game, right? And as a free-to-play game, but having the ability to make money within the game, as we all see, they need players to stay. They don't have the luxury of EAFC all these years that, they can just bank on the fact that football video game fans are going to play their game because it's the best option / the only option, right? They actually have to keep the players that they've got to play their game. And so many players having these issues, they have no choice but to address it, right? If you want to look at it like that, no matter what, the bottom line is these things are going to be fixed and the game is going to be much, much better for it. So we're going to go through these changes, these issues that will be fixed, but then we're also going to talk about some that they did not include. However, before we go into this list, I want you to go all the way to the bottom and notice that it says we'll share the full list of changes in the update note closer to release. So there's no doubt there's going to be more. So if don't just get discouraged if you don't see some of the things you want to fix. I know I don't see all of the issues I want to fix. I'll go over a few of them at the end of this discussion about this list, right? However, it's a good start, and there's time between now and mid-January. So we just have to, as players of the game, keep flooding the developers, right? All the social media for UFL with our feedback on what else needs to be fixed, especially now that we have this list. We know many of the issues will be addressed. We can't stop here. We have to keep hammering them with these other issues that need to be fixed that aren't listed, and I have no doubt they will add them. And I also have no doubt that there's some that they just didn't include on here for whatever reason. But that's just what we can hope for, right? And then we have to put our trust in the developers. I feel like so far they've done a good job with hearing us out, fixing the things that we've talked about. So we'll see mid-January if they pull through, but let's get into some of these fixes and discuss what they mean for the game. So first, increase goalkeeper reaction to headers from more than 10 meters away from the goalkeeper. We all know about this. The cross abusers are sweating right now because even players like me who have Cristiano Ronaldo, and then especially the Holland users, you could just lob in a cross no matter where the striker was, whatever position, too far forward, too far back, too far out, whatever. And sometimes those headers would just go in. Sometimes the keeper would make an effort and just it would hit off of his hands and go in. Other times it would just fly in like it was a rocket shot, right? Off the foot. Those will be fixed, and that will be nice because that's not a skill. It's not realistic. It almost takes away skill, right? Because it gives a player the opportunity to just press square no matter what. Press across no matter where they're at, no matter if players are open or not, and it will guarantee them a goal when they didn't earn it. So that will be nice once it is fixed. The next one, increase the chance of goalkeeper saving a shot from an acute angle. So we remember at the beginning, every shot was, if it wasn't a goal, was a rebound from the keeper's hands straight to the opposite side winger who would just tap it in, right? Every time. So players just started spamming shots, even if they knew they were from bad angles or wherever, because they knew it was going to rebound to their winger and they were going to score anyway, right? So they patched that, but now you have this situation where the ball will be wherever it is, just definitely not in a position to shoot, and players will shoot anyway because the animations from the goalkeepers just aren't up to par for those kind of shots. It will many times just hit off the goalkeeper and go in. Other times the goalkeeper will have this weird, almost like he's frozen, and also a ghost, and it will go right through him. Especially from those bad angles, almost like the developers didn't expect players to shoot from those angles and didn't quite answer the call for the animations. Well, now they are. That will be fixed. That will be awesome. The next one, reduced accuracy of passes by a player from an uncomfortable position. Remember, EAFC for years had this issue and finally just fixed it. UFL, the game's only just recently been out, their first iteration, and they're already addressing this issue. It's pretty cool when you look in comparison how long it took EAFC to address this. But we all know about this, especially former or current EAFC players, right? Where the player facing whatever direction, right? It didn't matter what direction, could just power up a pass, point the direction they want to point to, no matter how impossible it would be to make that pass for the player. In the video game, it would still come off, no matter how awkward it looked. Sometimes the ball you wouldn't even see an animation from the player. It would just rifle over to where they wanted. And again, with the skill gap, it would take it away because this player had no real idea of properly setting themselves up in a position to pass the ball. They would just kind of dribble, face wherever they wanted, and then spam a pass in whichever direction. So it was nonsense. It looked ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And it took away from the skill in creating a good passing opportunity for your team, right? And you have to do that over and over and over to create a chance. Well, these players, they could just face in any direction. Didn't matter how well the other team was defending because they would just point in the direction they wanted to pass and power it up the right way, and it would go straight to the player that they wanted. So that will be fixed. That will be nice. All right, the next one. Reduce the accuracy of crosses and one-touch passes. This is very similar to the passes from uncomfortable positions. Took away the skill gap. We talked a little bit earlier about increasing goalie's reaction with headers from more than 10 meters away. This is tied to that because, again, the players, without any thought of getting into a proper position to cross or pass, they would just spam crosses just like they would spam the pass button over and over, knowing that it would connect to their player and knowing that the defense wouldn't be able to defend it. And then they would work from there and try to find a way to score. With the one-touch passes, with the crosses, they'd simply keep dribbling around or spam whatever other type of broken mechanic is. Usually that's what players who spam these crosses do. That's how they play. And just get into wherever they could just press the cross button, knowing it's going to lock onto their striker wherever they're at and knowing they're going to have a good chance to score. So that ties to the above fix of the faraway headers with the goalkeeper reactions being fixed. That's going to be awesome when it is fixed. Moving on, increased chance of winning an air duel for the defending team during the corner kick. Obviously, we all know how OP corner kicks are, particularly for certain players with the ultra effect or even just any boost for their headers. But not only that, we all seen how many times our top-rated defenders got just dunked on by low-rated attacking players, and it wasn't even low-rated attacking players with good heading. It just was any attacking player could score a header on any rated defender. It didn't matter. Van de Ven, ultra effect heading, could go up against some 68 rated striker and somehow lose a header, right? Then you add in the OP abilities of the Haalands and the Cristiano Ronaldos of the game, and it was just like a cheat code on a corner kick, and it shouldn't be that way. Speaking of like penalty kicks, which they did say they're going to fix, the game shouldn't be where a corner kick is actually more valuable to you than a penalty kick, especially with the way penalty kicks are in this game. Luckily, they said they're going to fix it. Who knows? Maybe we'll sneak into this update in mid-January. That would be great. Even though there's not many PKs, when you do get one, you don't want to just, have such a small chance to score it when these corners, especially with these corners and like long finesse shots, are going in left and right, almost like they're automatic goals. So that will be nice when it's fixed. And this is coming from a player who scores many headers. If you've watched my highlights, you've seen I score many headers. I have Cristiano Ronaldo partly for his headers and his corners. But I'm saying I want this fix. I want it out of the game, right? I utilize it because I'm a competitor, but I want it out of the game because it will be much more realistic and it will create a skill gap. It won't give less skilled players the opportunity to get easy goals that they didn't even earn. As we know, there's some players that will just shoot the ball from no matter where they are, unrealistic angles, whatever, knowing that one, they might score. Now that's being fixed, but mainly because they're going to at least get a corner kick, and then that way they can get a goal that, again, they didn't earn. So that will be nice having that out. Last but not least on the list is fixed defense positioning to reduce abuse of crosses. In parentheses, long passes. Obviously, if you watched my previous video, you will know what this is referring to. If not, it's the long switch from one side of the field to the other, which from now until this update, you must utilize. I strongly suggest you watch my previous video to hear about why you must utilize that to win more, to get more chances. But it is great news that will be nerfed out of the game. Hopefully it's not an EAFC thing where they attempt a fix of this and it doesn't work. Hopefully it's truly nerfed out of the game. The reason why I wasn't as confident reading this as I would have been is because of the wording, right? I'm hoping it ties somewhere into the previous fix regarding accuracy of crosses and maybe bad angle passes, even though these long switches aren't necessarily bad angles. But the wording saying fixed defense positioning, I thought would have been something like fixed the accuracy of a player attempting a long pass or an extremely long pass or an across the field pass. You get what I'm saying? Because many times, I mean, what is defensive positioning going to do? They have their players set to all the way wide. Are they just going to pull your wing back way out of position to then challenge that ball? Are they just going to glide them over there? Because many times that long switch where the winger's set up, the defender isn't going to be able to do anything unless they're saying it's still going to connect to that player every time. It's just that while that ball is coming in the air, your defender will automatically close down quicker. But that's not a fix, because that's what I was telling you guys, particularly with the 5-back. You can manually pull your player out already. The issue is that that pass itself should not be connecting every single time over that distance. So the wording has me a little bit, I don't know. I'm a little bit worried if that's truly going to fix the issue we're talking about. I can only hope, with all the outpour over the ridiculousness of that long switch, that they truly will fix it. But we will have to see. It definitely takes away from the skill gap because, like I said in my previous video, it skips all those opportunities the defending team would have had to win the ball if they actually built the ball up regularly, with regular passes, working it up from defense to midfield to their attackers. It just skips all that and puts you right into a great position to go at the goal. And so it's nonsense. It takes away. It's almost like a get out of jail free card for low skill players. And now all they have to do is one or two things, maybe just dribble, as simple as dribble inside and create a curling shot. And now they got a goal. I actually put highlights in of a game where that happened to me, right? And I've done it before too, where I've received it on that long switch, especially as of late, and went right in and scored. And so I'm speaking from experience, not just having it done to me, but doing it. It's nonsense. It needs to be removed. So don't like the wording, but let's hope that they still, maybe it's just how I'm reading it or whatnot. Let's hope they are going to fix that issue, because it is a big one. Now, let's talk about a few things that aren't on here that we all want to see fixed, or at least I hope. I'm sure there's some rats out there that don't want to see any of this stuff fixed. But nonetheless, long curling shots, or even just regular curling shots, precision shots, finesse shots, whatever you want to call them, far too high of a percentage of those going in, right? I don't mind the animations, right? I don't mind the way that I don't mind the looks of it, like meaning the passes that they refer to from an uncomfortable position, that obviously is just nonsense. That needs to get out. It doesn't look right. It doesn't make sense. It makes the game look glitchy, goofy. So it's not the animations or anything with it. With this, it's simply the percentage rate those shots go in, right? Almost every time is a perfect shot. And either your goalie's going to have to make a miraculous save, or they're going right into the top corner. And it's just not realistic, okay? So I hope that they add those and fix those. They need to nerf long shots. The percentage has to go way down. There has to be more of a chance of an error, right? Like you don't get a perfect shot. Maybe it goes too close to the goalie. Maybe it goes wide. It can't just sail into the upper corner as much as it does with pretty much any player, but especially the ultra effect players, plus Mbappe. For whatever reason, Mbappe without any kind of effect on his curling shots per net, whatever the name is, he sails them in like no different than a Salah or a Messi or a Son. Okay, so we need to fix those finesse shots and get them fixed, lower the percentage of how much they go in, whatever you want to do, those have to be nerfed, okay? Last but not least, we need to talk about this handicap that they introduced. If there is a handicap, if they're saying there's not, there's something going on. You can see all the comments if you go to any of the UFL social media. We're not all crazy, right? There's something going on, and it's basically taking anybody with a good team that matches anybody. And it's not their fault they match that player, but any lower rated team. And it's basically taking their chance to win out of the game. Or drastically reducing their chance of winning. Even if they have the better team, even if they have more skill than that player. And what I mean by that is your players feel so bad, so stuck in the mud, so delayed. They miss so many chances, whereas the other team might get one chance. It goes right in no matter how highly rated your players are. They're winning corners. They're winning tackles. Their goalie's saving everything. Your goalie's saving. It's nonsense. So it takes any high-rated team and makes it to where they're pretty much punished, right? So I do not want to see it go the other way either, where these lower rated teams are getting matched against these higher rated teams, right? If they're going to do that, and then the lower rated team just gets destroyed. I don't want to see that either, because if they want to play the game and they're trying an RTG or something and they're working up and they just don't have the players, I do agree that it can't just be that they just get destroyed every time. And even if they have the skill to beat this other team, but they just have the Mbappes, the Messis, the Haalands. So I do see it from both ends. And I have no doubt that it's satisfying for those lower rated teams when they face against a player that they call pay to win, or that have all these top players and they're able to just dominate them with 70 and 80 rated, 70 and 60 rated, 70 and low 80 rated players, and they're going against upper 80 and 90 rated teams and winning, right? I'm sure it's a satisfying feeling, but it can't stay that way. But I also don't want to just see those teams have to match up, if their matchmaking stays, with these higher rated teams that have all the good players, and then just gets crushed either. But whatever they did that's going on in the game right now, it has to be fixed. I don't even know what it is, besides the fact that it's almost... I could think of different theories where what feels like lag and delay is just they slowed all the players down. It looks like maybe they went across all the stats and just put a big old minus 20 or 30 or 10, or maybe different reductions in stats for different players, to where like your Mbappe's the Mbappe player model and it says killing Mbappe, but when he gets out on the pitch, he's actually a 65 rated player, right? Because they reduce all of his stats. I don't know exactly, but they need to do something about that. I was hoping it would be on here. When I opened this up, I thought for sure, because that was a big one. One of the biggest I was seeing. Same with curling shots. So it's a shame those aren't on here, but let's keep giving them our feedback. Flood them with these fixes that we want to see that aren't on here. Now we got these on here. I would like a further explanation of how they're going to fix those that long switch, because the wording there, that's the only one I'm not sure of. But we need those, at least those added. Maybe there's some other ones too that I'm missing. If there are, leave them in the comments below. And thank you very much, and good luck.